I'm here today to read you a story. I'm going to read you part of this story. It's The Twits by Roald Dahl and it's illustrated by Quentin Blake. I'm going to read to you part of the story about Mr Twit, and then when I've done, I've got a challenge for you. Mr Twit was one of those hairy-faced men. The whole of his face, except his forehead, his eyes and his nose, was covered in thick hair. The stuff even sprouted in revolting tufts out of his nostrils and ear holes. Mr Twit felt that this hairiness made him look terrifically wise and grand, but in truth he was neither of these things. Mr Twit was a twit. He was born a twit, and now, at the age of 60, he was a bigger twit than ever. The hair on Mr Twit's face didn't grow smooth and matted as it does on most hairy-faced men. It grew in spikes that stuck out straight like the bristles of a nail brush. And how often did Mr Twit wash this bristly nail brush face of his? The answer is never. Not even on Sundays. He hadn't washed it for years. Dirty beards. As you know, an ordinary unhairy face, like yours or mine, simply gets a bit smudgy if it's not washed often enough. And there's nothing so awful about that, but a hairy face is a different matter. Things cling to hair, especially food. Things like gravy go right in amongst the hairs and stay there. You and I can wipe our smooth faces with a flannel and we quickly look more or less all right again. Hairy man cannot do that. We can also, if we're careful, eat our meals without spreading food all over our faces, but not so the hairy man. Watch carefully next time you see a hairy man eating his lunch, and you will notice that if he opens his mouth very wide, it's still impossible for him to get a spoonful of beef stew or ice cream and chocolate sauce in without leaving some on the hairs. Mr Twit didn't even bother to open his mouth wide when he ate, and as a result, and because he never washed, there was always hundreds of bits of old breakfasts and lunches and suppers sticking around the hairs around his face. They weren't big bits, mind, because he used to wipe those off on his hand or his sleeve. But if you look closely, not that you'd ever want to, you would see tiny specks of dried up scrambled eggs stuck to the hairs, and spinach and tomato ketchup and fish fingers and minced chicken livers and all the other disgusting things Mr Twit liked to eat. If you look closer still, hold your noses, ladies and gentlemen. If you peer deep inside the moustachy bristly bit sticking over his top upper lip, you will probably see much larger objects that had escaped the wipe of his hands, things that had been there for months and months, like a piece of maggoty green cheese or a mouldy old cornflake, even the slimy tail of a tinned sardine. And because of all this, Mr Twit never really went hungry. By sticking out his tongue and curling it sideways, he was always able to find a tasty morsel to nibble on here and there. What I'm trying to tell you is, Mr Twit was a foul and smelly old man. He was also an extremely horrid old man. So that is Mr Twit. My challenge for you is to see if you can draw and label a picture of Mr Twit. Or if you're in years 3, 4, 5 and 6, your challenge is to think about Mr Twit's children. If he was to have a little girl or a little boy, what might they look like? Would they be as disgusting as him? And how would they be disgusting? Can't wait to see your creations. Share them with us on our Twitter page and our Facebook page, and you can earn yourself a house point. See you all soon. Take care.